Welcome to part two, where we discuss the stress of it all. Now, here is an interesting fact that in 2020, a survey was conducted where children were more stressed out by their examinations, especially the PSLE, rather than COVID-19. Now, it's also an interesting fact that parents will go to the extreme of taking time off or taking leave to be with their children through PSLE. Right. Sophie, do you know about this?
Yes, I think it's a very common thing. Not a lot of parents will put their careers on hold.
Well, I think it's a bit extreme. I mean, I don't have children yet, so it's not fair of me to say. But um, yeah, I feel like putting all that attention on your child is just going to stress them out even more, right? Now, mommy has to stop work because I have to do well. That's basically what a parent is saying, right?
It's fine if you want to take off, right, during the PSA time. It shouldn't be to make the child study even harder, but instead to be there when the child is stressing out.
I mean, I can just imagine the scenario in school. A boy goes to school, a girl, hey, cousin, my mommy gave up her job, to sit down with me to study PSLE. Like, how would they react, right? Hey, then you better pass, huh? You better get grade A, right? I mean, that's that's the exact conversation. Do you think it's a bit extreme, cousin? What are your thoughts?
Yes, I totally agree with Dominic. I think sometimes the PSLE child wish that the mom or dad will go to work, and that's when they can actually have time to, I would like to call, be themselves, whatever that means, and time for themselves, time away from mom or dad, if it's too much. Yeah, but I learned something last weekend, the term called schedule time with your kids. So that's a date. For example, a Friday night at 7 p.m., that 1 hour just you and me. And that's something that the child can look forward to. Whereas if the mom or dad sacrifices the career for one whole year, there's no schedule time. It's like, 16 hours of the wake time is mom is always there or dad is always there. And that is very stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine it's like being in a funnel of just PSLE, 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 PSLE. And in Sophie, you talked a lot about having what actually Carsten's talking about, scheduling a date with your child. What did that do to your relationship after, all this bonding time?
Yeah, I think it made a very big difference for us. And my daughter actually looked forward to the lunch dates that we had. So what I did was I really scheduled lunch dates with her. And because she wanted to have more time with me and maybe hopefully go a little bit of window shopping after, she actually made an effort to complete all her homework in school during her free time on the day that, we were going to go out. So I think that kind of motivated her to want to complete her work and be there and have a good time.
Yeah, because it's the right type of motivation. Now, Dharmik, what if, and I know that, what was your PSLE experience? Did your mom, did your parents kind of like berate you with getting good results?
For me, I was okay. My parents were very serious about me getting good grades, right? My mother even like sent me for extra classes during that time because at that point my maths was like dipping, and so she sent me for extra classes. But at no point was she like scolding me or like hounding over me over the exams or anything. I mean, even my mother teacher gave up on me at some point because it would just be me and my friend in the corner of the classroom, and she would literally just, we're not there basically. The class goes on as per normal. But I managed to get the pass on that.
But do you think that if your parents kept talking to you about getting good grades every day, every day, every day, would you have switched off, or would you have, tried to get the good grades?
I promise you that most kids, if their parents every day tells them go and get a good grade, they'll hate whatever they're learning, and they will legitimately forget everything they learn because at some point it becomes a matter of, why must I do this? I just want to get it done with, and I'm gonna leave this behind. Instead of them learning to enjoy the subject, maybe some people could be good at maths, but because it's always like, why you cannot get E, why you cannot do this, why you cannot do that, it becomes a, oh, I guess I just have to pass. Then they pass, and then okay, I don't want to touch this anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even if they are very good and they do get the grades and they get A's for their math, they might never really want to pursue that, or not really want to pursue what your parents want you to pursue, right? Was it the same for your O levels?
O levels, I'll say that O levels is a very different time, I guess, compared to PSLE, because PSLE was less serious. Because now I have to think whether I want to go into what poly do I want to go? Will I get enough points to get into the poly? Because at this point you're starting to think of what do I want to be when I finally graduate from poly or a GC or whatever. So that's why you start to really stress out, because you're not doing 4 subjects, you're doing like 7 subjects or some 8, and you're thinking like, how am I going to juggle all of this? I actually just give up on doing homework at some point. My teachers would threaten to say, oh, if you don't do your homework, you call your parents. But I found out that all of them were lying. No, actually the teachers were really nice. They were doing that to just get us to do our work. But honestly, they were trying to, look out for us as well.
Right. So, I mean, you've just created distinction between PSLE and the O-level examination. So before we go into the other national examinations in Singapore, how important is the primary school leaving exam?
Society, I think they put a lot of emphasis on that, but actually in hindsight I don't think it's that important, because nobody ever asks you for your PSLE results when you apply for a job in the future. So I think it's a bit overrated. Assessments are important, I'm not saying that they are not, but I think the way that we are viewing PSLE as one assessment mode, I think that's been overrated.
Would you agree then with doing away with the PSLE completely?
If I had my way, yes, I would. I mean, I understand that in Singapore, I think we need some form of measure for where students would go in the secondary school. But I think we can maybe take a leaf from other countries where they don't have a national exam for 12-year-olds.
Dharmit shaking his head, I mean, nodding profusely. Before we get to that answer, which is quite obvious, Carson, do you think we should do away with the PSLE?
I think they should rename the PSLE.
To
Yeah, it kind of implies that, that if you don't do well, you can't leave, you have to stay back, Yeah, I mean, call it progress something, or, something to look forward to,
Yeah, so that's a psychological rewiring of how we should see it.
That's my view. Yeah, because I feel that sometimes the words that we use on ourselves matter a lot, So it is possible for you to look forward to something, to say I want this, rather than to have a fear of not getting there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you have a fear of not getting there, that fear can actually expand and overwhelm you, and you don't see the goal, but you just, I'm afraid to fail.
Yes.
Every day you're afraid to fail, and for 12 years old, I mean, what kind of pressure are we putting on them?
Going back to you, Dharmit, you definitely want to keep PSLE, right? Because you're like,
okay, this is going to be extreme, but PSLE, right, is stupid. Okay, now I'm going to explain myself. All right. So the reason why I feel that it's stupid is because what you're doing is you're getting the kids to basically become wolves and start eating each other off. Because what happens is that we give them this exam, which now they have set their entire value upon. So because we will say, oh, only if you do well in PSLE you can get into good school, then you can go into good job, whatever, right? And what happens is that now they put this mark as their value, and they go into secondary school, then they'll ask each other, how much you get for PSLE? Then they start to rank each other, and some people, they only hang out with people they think they're smart. Oh, I only hang out with smart people. You're stupid, you're not. And then you end up with like a situation where not only do you create socially awkward people, but socially awkward people that hate each other.
I never took my PSLE too seriously.
right.
Yeah, I just really wanted to just do my best. Okay. Yeah, for me, my only concern was Chinese. Yeah, which no matter how I try, it's it comes back very colorful, always red. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that was me.
Thank you very much for that, Carson. Now, in part 3, we're going to look at whether all these exams are relevant for the future. Stay tuned.